Today in the Church's liturgy for this Tuesday of the 33rd week in Ordinary Time, we continue our celebration of the saints, really. It seems that in the past few weeks, we've just been continually immersed in the lives of the saints every day. It's difficult for me to recall, except for this past Sunday, one of the last times I read from the Ordinary of the Office of Readings, for it seems that there have been so many saints in recent days. And today is just another one of those examples, as the Church celebrates the memorial of St. Elizabeth of Hungary. Our readings that the Church proposes today for the 33rd week in Ordinary Time, for Tuesday of that week, have many treasures, many gems contained within them, just like the Scriptures always do. So let's just look at two of them. The first is, our first reading today comes from the book of Maccabees, and it ends in this way. This is how he died, leaving in his death a model of courage and an unforgettable example of virtue, not only for the young, but for the whole nation. This is really what we see in the lives of the saints. We see it in the life of St. Elizabeth of Hungary. We see it yesterday in the life of St. Gertrude and St. Margaret of Scotland. Last week with St. Martin of Tours, that they give us models of courage, an unforgettable example of virtue. That's why we celebrate the lives of the saints. And of course, this month of November began with that feast of all saints. That's who the saints are for us. Secondly, let us turn to our gospel for today. If you recall, yesterday we ended chapter 18 of the Gospel of St. Luke. It was Bartimaeus. Although Luke doesn't name Bartimaeus, we know from the Gospel of Mark and other Gospels that the blind man sitting on the side of the road is Bartimaeus, who's calling out to the Lord, "Have pity on me." Jesus yesterday asked him, "What do you want me to do for you?" He said, "Master, I want to see." Today we really continue that continuity of the theme of seeing. That's in our gospel today, as Zacchaeus wants to see Jesus. It's why he climbs the tree. He wants to see Jesus, and he was short in stature, so he couldn't see the Lord. So he climbs that tree, and Jesus comes to him and says, "Zacchaeus, come down quickly, for today I must stay at your house." In our lives, we don't have to search for Jesus any longer like Zacchaeus was trying to see him. We don't have to search for Jesus because he's in the church. He's in the word that's proclaimed at Mass. Jesus is reserved in the tabernacle. Jesus is present in the Eucharist that we receive at Mass. We search for God in our daily life, but Jesus, we know where to find him. Isn't that beautiful? Zacchaeus, come down, I want to stay in your house today. Every time we go to Mass, that's what happens. Jesus wants to come and wants to stay at our house. It's why we say, "Lord, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof, the roof of my house, the roof of my being." We are, after all, temples of the Lord, so Jesus comes and he lives within us. Zacchaeus, come down, I want to live with you today. I want to stay at your house. What do people say about Zacchaeus, though, and Jesus? They grumble, he has gone to stay at the house of a sinner. And isn't that exactly what's going to happen when we receive Jesus in the Eucharist? Jesus is going to come and stay in the house of a sinner. He's going to stay in the house of you and of me. That's who we are. That's why we confess our sins at the beginning of Mass, during the penitential rite. It's why we go to the sacrament of penance, recognizing that we are in need of God's mercy, recognizing that we are sinners. But in the midst of that sin, as long as it's not mortal, Jesus is able to come and to stay with us in the Eucharist today. Today, salvation will come to our house. Salvation will come to us because we will receive Jesus. We will come down from the tree. We will invite Jesus in under our roof. And in that moment, Jesus will live with us.